coming along. See, it's coming along there, right? So I hate to do it to you guys. I'm going to turn off the camera and just bang out these other grapes. Okay? As you can see, that's what we have so far with the grapes. Just about done. There's a couple of problem areas like right here. And so we'll get those done when the whole thing is done. I promise that. So right now we want to zoom in on the pear, and we'll discuss that. Let me do that. One pear coming up. Again, let's work on the surrounding areas to define the shape of the pear. And the first thing is probably going to be the stem. So now I'm including the stem. So here's the stem here. What I did was I shaded around the stem to get the shape of the stem. And then I realized that the stem, the real stem of the pear there, has a hole in it because it's a tube. But I can't handle that, so I'm going to get rid of that hole and just treat it like a real stem. Now I decided to use the highlight, pull out the highlights for the stem, like this. The lit up region will be worked on first for the stem. I might even do that for the pear, just for the sake of argument, to show you it, that you can do it that way. Because for a lot of this, I was doing the mid-tone and then the dark areas and the highlight. So with the pear, we'll do the highlights first, and then get into the dark like the coarse shadow and all that. Let's try that. It's going in where I think I need to. See that? And it's not that light, we're just defining it. There we go, you see that? The 2B is perfect for this job. See, around the pear. Like, what's going on here, And then we talked about maybe pulling it back, What if we did that? How would we do that? Like this right here. So I'm going way off to the edge of the paper, which I don't know if I'd do that off for all of my drawings, but it looks like this one's just asking for it. We did it there, right? This looks kind of cool. So look how I'm using the blender just to do that. Pulling out. We'll do the, you can't see up here what I'm doing, so I'm going to stop. The main thing is the pear. We're supposed to do a pear, which is right here. There's the pear. I get off on a tangent. Let's go back here. You don't know what I'm doing here, do you? Okay, let's stop there. Let's focus on the region around the pear. I don't think the dark areas, the highlight is, I mean, I'm sorry, the reflected light is not dark, is not lighter than, the reflected light is lighter than this area here. And it's tricky because this is lighter than the back of the back side of the nest. So it's a very interesting little thing going on here. So I'm going to respect it. I'm not going to lose that. And the shape of the pear is kind of off. Let's see. I guess that's okay. Is that what? You got to really be sensitive to the shape of this thing. It doesn't look like that. It's more like this should come down like that. It's crazy how I did that. So let's just fix it. See, that's what I'm saying, you know. Maybe that's even worse. I don't know. Determine the shape of the pear by drawing around it, like you do for all of this stuff. It's a really important lesson to apply. And it deals with the negative versus positive space. The shapes that surround something are just as important as the thing in itself. The shape surrounding something is as important as the thing itself. That's what we're doing here. So we want to just go and draw inside, right? But I've learned to discipline myself to hold off and draw around the thing in question. And I'm telling you, it's so important. Like, you know, even with this here is too light. Now, I don't know if you see what I'm doing. There's a blade of grass that's next to the grape. There's a blade of grass that's next to the pear that's just too dark. It's bugging the hell out of me. So I don't know if you saw me do that. But the idea is that I'm drawing around the form that I have to yet even complete. Draw around. It's like drawing around the subject before you get the subject. It's that kind of a thing. Really work out the shape that way and define how it's set in with the whole. So important. It's so important. And yeah, there is a problem. I think that this pear has to be. Let's see. Yep. This pear has to go that high, like right here, and right here. And it goes like that. So I had a major problem here. So you see that? So what I have to do is pull it out. See how important the shape is more than anything. I'm not going to do anything in here until I'm happy with what's going on around here. I have to pull it out with my pinky eraser. I think that'll help. You can always look at the original setup in my video. Pause it, go back, and then come back to this. You know, it's so important to do this. So is. I even got to squint to get the shape of the pear right. This is crazy. There we go. It's a little bit better. And what happens is this comes out like this. It's funny, like people actually made these these artificial things. It's funny. But they're not real, they're artificial, it's crazy. So let's just come in here now. Let's buy back some respect. Respect the pear. And also what's surrounding the pear. Whoop, outline, don't want that. Not for this project. When you're doing more expressive stuff, you might have outlines and stuff, and I don't know, all sorts of stuff. But this is, we already talked about this, using more of a neoclassical type feel. Neo means new. Right here like this. Okay. I guess before we get into what's inside here is that we gotta get the mid-tone established again. So maybe vine charcoal again. Kind of hit it like so. Just like originally, when you charge up your surface, you go like so, vertical, horizontal strokes like that. See that? Now we're gonna go all the way to the outside. We're gonna let it bleed to the outside. I mean. So this is how you really get successful drawings. You really, like I drew around the pear before I actually worked on the pear. And now I'm preparing the actual pear with the right kind of bedding here. And then the highlights, and then the core of shadow. So this is very important, what you're going to look at right here. See that? Very important, what we're going to get into right now. Yeah, I don't know how to zoom in any more than that. Look what we can do with the brush right here. See that? That's right, gang. Watch this. I'm not afraid. See how I just hit that with the brush? That's it. That's, you know, use the right materials and follow these videos. I think you'll learn something. I think you'll get something out of this. Okay, so apart from that little streak there, we're ready to hit the pear, and then we'll get the background better, and then we're just about going to be wrapping this up. So I mentioned the highlight for the pear right now, and then I don't think the stem is completely done. That's really bugging me. Let's do something with that. Like this part of the stem is more bright than the other parts. Like that. Like that. You see, it's different. in tone. The whole thing is not the same value. Okay, anyways. I hope you can see this. I think I didn't crop the stem. Again, I'm drawing around the stem to draw the stem. Okay, so let's do the highlight. Look at that. See that? Let's see. I don't know if it does that. I just wanted to follow the form of the pear, but that pear, it's not like that. It goes like this. That's kind of weird. So we're gonna work with that. So now let's soften it up here. So here we go here. Okay, let's see, let's fix up here. I don't know what's going on there. See, this is a sharp edge. It's a really hard edge. We can't avoid it. I think I was in the way, rats. I had to clean up that edge. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is... Go over here, and here like that. Kind of got an outline there. It's kind of... Okay, now what? Let's do the core of shadow. I think it's kind of big. I can use this. And I can kind of like plot out where I think it's going to be. Let's say you wanted to use divine charcoal to figure out the core of shadow, because you're not really sure if you can do it with the compress and not make a mistake. So we can do that. We can use divine charcoal and kind of like map out where the shadow is going to be. And it's kind of cool. There's two things going on. You go like this and you go like this. Again, you might want to look at the original for this. And then you have this, like that. And then here, the core of shadow ends there, like that. So let's try. What we can do is pull out the compressed charcoal and come in here like this. And what I do is I do the whole thing just to figure out. What I'm doing is shading in the whole area that will be in the dark regions, the areas where it's not receiving any kind of direct light. And then I can go in there and concentrate on the core of shadow. That's like one way. Another way is just to hit it with the core of shadow and then move into the reflected light zone. So there's more than one way to do a given task. Let's see. Well, let's use the side of the charcoal. How dark do we want this? Well, it's close to a 70 to a 85, and I made it even darker. And that was because I wanted to pump up the contrast. But you might want to make it a little bit lighter than this. I'm not going to go any darker than this. So you see that? So we have that. Let's say we charged it up like this. And we're going to come in here now. Focus on the concentrated area. Mistake, that shouldn't be as dark. Again, I'm going by the model. So I'm going to use my chamois cloth to kind of lift. There we go. So that's similar to this area here. Let's try some blending. Well, we could play with the brush, see what this does. I sometimes don't know, you know, I want to try. I mean, I kind of know because I've been doing this for so long, but, you know, there's always some question that I have that needs answering, and the only way to answer it is by actually physically doing it. It's still a little bit too dark here. We'll fix it up. Do. There we go. That kind of works. Yeah, that's okay. It's definitely not done, but it's looking better. This is by far a longer video than I anticipated, and it might be too boring to watch the whole thing from beginning to end, but I hope, you know, you can get something out of this, and it's for posterity's sake, if anything. To be able to see a drawing like this actually being made, instead of just cutting to all the different parts done and then me talking about it, you actually were able to see it in real time. And then of course there's like I could always block out the sound in Adobe Premiere and just speed up the film, you know, where it's like really fast. You know, I can have different versions of the same video. So I'm thinking of ways of doing this, like, you know, version 1, you know, with the normal speed, and then version 2 where it's sped up, and so the viewer can choose what they want to look at. You know, it's going to take me time to do that. Right now I'm uploading stuff for a particular class, and they were supposed to get this like 5 days ago, so I'm kind of behind too. Well, so we're getting there though. See that? Reflected light there, it's kind of neat. And I like I'm coming down, like these hatch marks going down. I don't know why I like it. It just seems to serve a good, it seems to work for this area. Yeah. Then I can even use my pinky. See that? It's not the best thing to do all the time, especially if you're interested in eating. It's always good to do this all the time, and especially if you are into eating French fries. during your break, and if so, make sure you wash your hands. So I thought it'd be neat just to see what you can do with your hand, you know, and it's almost like it's done, you know. It's not, but it's almost, and it's pretty neat. The standard procedure is to use this, so we're gonna do that. Something here has to be fixed. You'll see in a minute. So you see that? It looks pretty cool. And I got my HB pencil, and I kind of want to come in here now and work. The problem is I can get into these things, or I can just draw for hours, and because I built up what's called an art stamina, and the art stamina is where the artist could just lock themselves up in their studio and paint for hours, and I'm one of those people. I'm capable of doing this for hours. I think Picasso, when he was commissioned by the Spanish government to, I think Picasso, when he was commissioned to do Guernica, giant mural about the atrocities of war, particularly being bombed in the place with the same name, Guernica, and Franco gave Hitler the permission to bomb Guernica, and so that's what that subject is about. And so Picasso, he did that in like a Herculean 2 weeks. I think he banged that thing out in less than a month. I know that. I mean, I study this stuff, and I can't remember all the dates and how much time, but I think it was like 2 weeks to a month. He banged that thing out. He did studies and everything. He had a program, and he did it, and he made that colossal painting. And so he had major stamina, major artist stamina. He can just keep working, and it's like somebody on the assembly line, the seasoned workers on the assembly line. They just stand on their feet and just doing their work for the whole 20 hours a day, no complaints, right? Well, I'm definitely a complainer. I couldn't handle that. But as far as doing my work, I could do this, and you can tell if you look at my videos, some of them go beyond an hour, and like with the bird's nest, that shows you I've got some art stamina. I'm standing, gang, when I'm drawing. I'm standing at the easel when I'm doing this. It's the best procedure to have control over your work, and so I don't know if I can do it for days, but I can do it for hours. And so I do this for a few hours, and I take a break, and I do it again, and so on and so on. And I get my stuff done that way. Art can be a full-time job. To be a real artist, it takes forever. It takes it's a full-time thing. And, the story behind it is, though, but is it, like, wise to do art if you have to put, food on the table? And like, well, everyone has to put food on the table, so you have to really know that you want to do something like this and make this your life's calling, apart from, having a family. It's nice to meet the right partner and have a family, and there's other things in life But I'm just saying in general, like, you know, we're talking about work, in particular artwork, and so like your students taking a drawing class, and like, what do you want to do with the drawing class? So, and it's hard to teach a class like this without having a biased sort of interest to people, uh, to having a biased interest of people who are wanting to get serious. And I apologize for that. I try not to take favorites. You know, I teach the class the way I teach it anyways, which could be a difficult time for a casual learner. Like, you just want to come in and do some cute little drawings and have fun, but you come in my class and you're like, bam, you got to do these value scales and these, you know, compositional studies, make a viewfinder, and it's work. You know, you're really thinking it out. You know. And I even gave you a little bit of math to deal with, you know. So if you hate math, you might not like that part of the class, you know. But I really am conservative with what. After all these years, I'm pretty conservative with what I'm gonna spend time with the class, and you know, have you do whatever I assign. What task should I have the student perform it? I whittled it down, and it took me forever. There's just so much that I could go into that we don't. That's why I sometimes say you got to take other drawing classes apart from, like, say, one instructor, including me. You don't want to get everything from me. But if you want a program that's consistent and it deals with charcoal and drawing from life, and with a neoclassical, quasi-classical approach, using classical shading technique and all that, yeah, then I think that I'm your man. You know, I can help you with that. I'm really confident about these techniques I'm putting in these videos to want to share them. And so far so good. This one's taken a long time to make though. This is going to be a long video. This will be the longest video that I have to date. And it's going to be in parts. I already have part 1 uploaded. So to somebody who's just in a rush, you're like, okay, I'm done. But we're not done. We have to come in and really, you know, pay attention, because, like, say, this is supposed to be a little bit lighter than that. And so we want to be mindful of these things. And I'm going to also tinker with the brush right now in this area here. So as I erase, I'm kind of going like hatch like this, and I can also go like this, kind of like around the form like that, when I'm trying to make it a little bit lighter. So I'm not just going like that. Like I'm either going like this, or I'm going like this. See that? Kind of like as if I'm wrapping around our object like that. And let's see here. These little guys. I don't know what that is. And let's see. There. See that? That is the improvement of the guy right here, because little area here is kind of sunken in like that. See? And I think that this curls inward. Like this has to go like so, like this. So I'm paying attention to these little things, and you ought to too. Like really go back and double check your marks. Like it has to be somewhere in the middle coming out, and indeed it is kind of hooking into the base, going that way towards the left. So we're honing in, we're getting there. Now I notice how you can't really see the other side of the stem. You don't have to have an outline of the stem. You know, some of it does dissolve into the black, and that's okay. That will serve you, you know, tremendously if you really know how to use it. Like what am I saying? You know, like parts of your drawing will not be defined because shape will dissolve into another shape. Or a tone, and it's okay. Not everything is outlined, and it shouldn't be. So as we wrap it up, and we're not there yet, but we're almost there. You know, we're almost there. We will want to. Oh, let's try this. So you see how I do that with the brush? Just, you know, confidently just. There we go. Doing the fine shading work using an HB pencil. HB charcoal pencil. I use the 2B in this case. You could use a 4B for the core of shadow, the charcoal stick. Now I'm over here with the pencil, and boy, there's so much I can do to this. There's so much we can do. This will give you a lot of time. This will give you a lot of. This will give you something to do, and it'll take a while to do it. So you'll have a lot of time in your hands. So if you have a lot of time in your hands, and you want to do some drawing, is a perfect companion. And even if you're with somebody in your house, you and your significant other can set up a still life and draw together, and I think that's the secret right there. You can even have like a drawing party when quarantine is over, when people can live normal lives again. Let's hope, knock on wood, right? Have like a little art party. You have people come over your house. If it's not too hot, do it in your garage. In the cooler months. Or if you have like a guest room, make it into like a little art space, and you set up your still life like how I showed you. One of my videos talks about setting up a little space for drawing still lifes, and you have people come over, and I've done that. Me and a lady friend did that, and we had she was an artist, I'm an artist, and we had a great time. And it's always great to be able to spend time with somebody and do that. And what would you draw? It's like, well, the idea is to try to draw the same thing. It's fun to do that. And then you can always compare each other's drawings. Like, wow, you see that pear differently than me. And like the still life will look different from your point of view than from theirs. And I think still life is the key. We have the internet. You can take photographs from the internet and draw that, and that's great practice. And I sometimes even talk about that in my drawing class. where you have your camera, take your own pictures, and that's all valid stuff, nothing wrong with that. This is just a particular thing that we're doing, among other things. And I try to put into historical context. And like, so when you first start learning how to do drawing, representational drawing, especially in the West, it's a Western tradition for centuries, is you first learn how to grind paints and stretch canvases and clean up the studio, And so now you know how to mix paints, and you know how to prepare surfaces for the master, or in this case teacher, to paint on. And so you're learning something right there. And then you start drawing things that they give you to draw, and usually it's a two-dimensional thing that they have you copy from, that they've made. Like, and I did that. I had a drawing of a guy and a girl I made, and I had my students draw that, and I give them a technique to do it, which is what we're using even for this. And so you draw from existing drawings and engravings and stuff like that. And then you start drawing busts and let's say still lifes. And then you would do busts, like statues. Like I showed you the one of the angel that I had. Imagine that, but like 50 times more refined and something that's almost life-size. Like you can actually draw life-size statues and busts and stuff like that. And so the novice would be doing that. And we would sometimes go to the museum and draw, So if you have a chance to draw sculpture, go for it. And you focus on busts and let's say still lifes. And then you would do busts, like statues. Like I showed you the one of the angel that I had. Imagine that, but like 50 times more refined and something that's almost life-size. Like you can actually draw life-size statues and busts and stuff like that. And so the novice would be doing that. And we would sometimes go to the museum and draw, So if you have a chance to draw sculpture, go for it. And you focus on, like if you can go to any major art museum, you'll find a sculpture section. And you go to that section and you just set up and you draw. I've done it, because I was an art student at one time. And we knew about this. So you do that, and then from there you start drawing real people, and then you start painting, and so you can paint the still lifes too. And so you're drawing and you're painting, and then that's still a far cry from painting a story, which is called a historical painting. And look at his entry painting to get into the salon. It's just amazing. And Watu and others, it's amazing. I love those people. I love that time. It was a time of the aristocracy, but I love the art. And it was a very precarious time. A lot of tumult, a lot of political upheaval, and scientific revolution was less than 100 years away by that time. Less than 100 years away, and you see how the art then changes as a political landscape changes, and sometimes the art influences it. But you don't have to like the age in which you are living to make great art. And so you can see that with these painters, and it's just a treat to study this stuff. And I encourage you to look at some of these people that I'm mentioning. Let's see. It's hard not to get lazy when you're drawing, especially if you're tired. So then you gotta take a break. And I've been pretty good with my class as far as, you know, late turn-ins go. If you come in with something late, I don't know. It's like I debilitate before I just knock off points. You know, what's going on? You know, if it's usually somebody that keeps repeating the offense, repeat offense, repeat offender. You know, you don't want to be a recidivist. You know, you know, don't get into art jail too many times. So, but you know, I just you know, usually everyone gets their stuff done in a timely manner, even though it might be late a day or two, because I understand. Okay, here we go. It's still, this needs to be worked on a little bit. We're gonna do that like that. See that? So you have two layers of highlight. See, this is the highlight, but then that's the highlight. That's brighter than that, and that's very important. That's key cativo right there, man. You wanna do that, and I'm really exaggerating that because it's so cool. And this will here need something. Okay. So this is what we have so far. I cropped off like a couple of inches off the top because there's not much there to see. And so this is what we have so far. And I just would recommend you kind of scan it, and then you work on certain areas that might not be up to snuff. Like you might notice something here and say, well I have to do something here. So fine, you know, you work on that. This here is not right. I've noticed. I had to study it, and I'm confirming that I'm going to fix that. And so what's happening is I'm going to lop off that shadow on that side. And what's happening is I'm just migrating it. I'm pushing it to the right. See that? Little bugger is moving to the right. Like that. And then there's like a reflected light reinforcement here. See that? It's beginning to look more like what it ought to look like. And so I hope that I'm not in the way. And you get to see this, you know, it's a little bit difficult because I pulled out with the camera, but I don't think we need to zoom in anymore. So you'll at least get this real time. And I'm going to knock this out of the park. And there's so much to do. You're going to make a fortunate drawing. But I hope I've given you enough up until now to get something like this. Now, before we call it a day, I want to bring our attention to the back area here. Follow the book. I decided to reinforce the whole idea about the book being continuous, like here, like that. And I'm getting that from the still life. And then over here, I got the angle, and it's like this. Now notice how this angle is moving like in this direction, but this is going up, but it's the book. The reason why is something called perspective, and a lot of us heard of perspective. We could talk about that in a separate video, but right now I'm just paying attention to the direction of the angle, and I'm going to reinforce that guy like this. And I think I should get rid of these. As much as I like the rippling effect, because I'm really interested in that, I'm just going to get rid of it because it's really not serving a purpose right now. and it's something like this, and so this is really cool. Like this is lit up, but then this is cut off because it's in shadow, and little ambiguous things like that has always been interesting to me, and try to draw that in, but it has some kind of a reason or logic behind it. It's not just a random ambiguous thing. Use the old pinky here, it's okay. Kind of smoky blade of grass. I can probably come in and talk to it. I want that to overlap this one. That's kind of hip, right? See that? It kind of works. Kind of like what I see too anyways. I'm not really making it up. I sometimes take liberty, but I ain't making it up. I mean, it'd be nice someday to do a drawing where it's just like creating some, like how to create something imaginative and where it's really creative. Because this is great, but this is a still life, and it's more like an exercise. So here we go. You see that? A slight outline might not hurt, especially for something in the foreground. But it's so slight that you don't have a problem with it. See that? So I'm just going to hit this up here. And I'm going to hit this over here. And we're going to call it done. In that still life. It's a part of that still life. And I finally got it in there. And like this right here. And then this, you can kind of like pull that out. Like that. So you don't want to cover this whole thing with white. You want to come in and look for the detail, and there's like a groove. And then I was able to bring that out using my white pencil like that. See that? These are the ways to I think implement the white charcoal. Now what's interesting here is you have a straw, but then you have another straw coming out of it or behind it, and so that serves well for that. And then like here, there's a little nodule at the end of this. You see that? So that's what the white charcoal could be for. So we can play around with certain areas like that, and let's do it. And I'm very strategic in my use of this white charcoal. See that? I'm really blotting it along. And in here, there's some pretty cool things going on here, like this. And this is tricky. It's underneath. It's like and well, this is on top of this, and then it's underneath here. That's what I meant. And it's underneath there. Yeah, I gotta make sure I know what I'm seeing. This kind of comes out like that. And I'm going to put this behind this. See that? For the seashell, there's not much that needs to be done. Because we really, this took a long time to do, and so a lot of the work has been done without the pencil. And so the pencil is not really needed in this case. I'm not going to renege on it. I'm going to still use it. But I'm going to tend to use it wisely. I don't use it as a crutch. So much that we can do, it's just not funny. that little bit of an accent here. See that? How about the grapes? Well, I did want to toy up the grapes. See, as I work, I don't seem to need a lot of it, but we're getting. I'm kind of showing you areas in general, like boom, there, and then here, this area here. And the grape. But what is that? There we go. Okay. This area here. Now we want to do the pear. Seems to be a little bit of an unfinished area here in the grape. Like right here, this was a problem because I couldn't get there without being in the way. Okay, the pear right here. Kind of wanted to hit this part, but not this part. So I wanted to show that they're a little bit different. Notice I can get rid of some of those little pock areas. See that? Kind of clean it up, make it more smooth. And that really helps this guy a lot. See that? Nothing there. Just about done, gang. So you can see I didn't use a lot of the white anyways, because I did a lot of work with the eraser and just knowing where I'm going to go with my marks beforehand. So technically, you don't you need your eraser. You need your 3 erasers. You need your charcoals and stuff like that. The least thing in your blenders, the least thing you need is the white charcoal. You can do a drawing like this without white charcoal. So the white charcoal is like the creme de la creme, the icing on the cake. And I think we could do more with the creme de la creme. We can come over here and let's see. The little things. See that? The little things. Alright. Now look where I'm going to sign it. And look how I'm going to sign it. So I have my first and last name initial with the year. And there we go. So we signed the puppy and it's technically getting there. Now for one last thing, and then we're done. Okay, I removed the blue painter's tape. And you can see how I went all to the edge of the left and right side of our drawing. And it looks nice, and this is called bleeding off the edge of the paper, so it just bleeds all the way to the ends of the paper, and then here you have the clean edge for the top and the clean side for the bottom. So this completes our still life compositional drawing, and I hope you got something out of this video.